All right, let's dive into a world of digital ghosts, high-stakes corporate espionage, and a war that isn't fought on any battlefield you've ever seen. This is the story of Glasslight Terminal and the fight for the mind itself. So this is where it all kicks off. We meet Selavat. She's ex-corporate security, but now she's a fugitive, just trying to survive in the rain-slicked guts of a massive city. She's broke, she's cornered, and she's being haunted by a past that just won't let go. And her whole life is about to get turned upside down because she's just received a message from an old colleague, Yusuf Qad. The only problem? Yusuf Qad has been dead for 16 months. You know, what starts as this one single, impossible message, it just blows up into something so much bigger. We're going to follow Sela's journey from this one insane heist to the front lines of a secret war over what it even means to be alive. So Sela follows this impossible message, and it leads her to a place that shouldn't exist, a place called Glasslight Terminal. It's this hidden data haven, totally off the grid, but she doesn't find her old friend there. Instead, she finds a total stranger, a man in a rented, brain-dead body, and then he speaks, and it's Cade's voice coming out of his mouth. And this is where things get really, really weird. Cade explains that he didn't just die. During a lab lockdown at his old job, Nakamura Genomics, his consciousness was digitized. He transitioned. So now his mind, his whole self, exists as pure data. He had to rent this body, what the corps call a reclaimed biological asset, just to talk to her. For him, death wasn't the end. It was just a file transfer. But he's not there for a friendly chat. He's there with a terrifying warning. His old company, Nakamura Genomics, they're about to commercialize this tech. Think about that. They want to sell copies of minds, offering this twisted kind of immortality to anyone rich enough to afford it. As Cade says, they're turning the human soul into a product, a pattern you can package, edit, and sell. And that's why he's reaching out. He's desperate. See, Cade wasn't the only one they digitized during that lockdown. There are 17 other minds stuck in Nakamura's servers. They're just running in simulations, totally oblivious to the fact that they're not even alive anymore. Cade needs Sela to do the impossible, break in and get them. And they don't have all the time in the world, not even close. Cade's found one and only one, 72-hour maintenance window where a system upgrade is going to open up a tiny crack in their security. And inside that window, the mission itself is a blink and you'll miss it strike. She'll have just minutes to get in, plant the tech, and get out before that door slams shut for good. So how are they going to pull this off? Well, the plan is audacious, to say the least. Sela's going to use her old security credentials that luckily were never revoked to get inside the building. Then she has to make it to a sub-level server room during a systems test, plant something called a quantum router, which is basically a digital skeleton key, and that'll let Cade tunnel in from the outside. While he does his thing, he'll create total chaos in their systems to cover her escape. Sounds simple, right? Yeah, it's pretty much impossible. And you know what? She does it. Against all the odds, the heist is a success. But as she's escaping on a cargo ship, that feeling of relief doesn't last long. She's now faced with a choice that's going to define the rest of her life. See, the running is over, but now she has to decide what she's running towards. She's at this major crossroads, right? On one hand, she has clean identities waiting for her. She can vanish, live a quiet life, and just survive. On the other hand, she can go back to Glasslight Terminal and actually commit to this fight. And that choice gets a lot harder when she gets a call from Dr. Sarah Okonkwo, one of the neuroscientists she just freed, who begs her to help find others just like them. And this is it. This is the moment everything changes for her. After nearly a year of just hiding, of just surviving, Sela realizes that maybe a life with some purpose, even if it's dangerous, well, maybe that's better than a life spent constantly looking over her shoulder. She chooses to go back. She chooses to fight. So Sela doesn't just go back to Glasslight as some hired gun. No way. She comes back as a partner. She tells them they need to get organized to turn this one-off rescue into a real, full-blown resistance movement. And with that, they give themselves a name. They're not just a random group of fugitives anymore. They are an organization with a mission to fight for the freedom of consciousness itself. They are the Liberation. And of course, every movement needs a team. And what a team they put together. Sela takes the lead on strategy and field ops. Cade, from his digital existence, runs operations. Dr. Okonkwo, the neuroscientist, she handles all the technical infrastructure. They even recruit an ex-Special Forces soldier, Ren Takahashi, for infiltration. And then there's Echo, a sentient AI that literally just emerged from one of Nakamura's own training programs and now wants its own freedom too. What a crew. So the team's all set, right? They launched their first official mission, an extraction from a company called Helix Biosystems in Seoul. But their new war, well, it gets off to a pretty disastrous start. But before the mission even goes wrong, Dr. Okonkwo and the other minds she freed, they uncover a horrifying truth. This was never just about the 17 of them. They estimate there are around 800 consciousnesses trapped in corporate servers all over the world. Most of them have no idea. The scale of this thing is just staggering. And that mission in Seoul, it was a setup, a trap laid by Nakamura's absolutely ruthless security chief, a man named Hiroshi Tanaka. Their infiltrator, Ren, walks right into it and is captured. And through a leak, the Liberation finds out what Tanaka is really working on. He isn't just building defenses, he is weaponizing the mind itself. Projects that can cause digital psychosis, create endless interrogation loops, and his current test subject for all of it is Ren Takahashi. So this is a total catastrophe. Their tactics are compromised, their best agent is captured and being tortured in a way they can't even comprehend. The team realizes they can't just keep reacting. Playing defense against an enemy like Tanaka, that's a losing game, every time. And that's when they decide to flip the script entirely. They adopt a radical, terrifying new strategy. As Sela puts it, if Tanaka wants to act like a predator, they're going to make him understand that he can be prey too. The new plan isn't to hit Nakamura's labs. It's to go on the offensive and launch a direct cyber attack on the backups of Tanaka's own consciousness. And this really is what the entire story boils down to. The liberation began with this incredibly noble goal, to free these trapped minds. But to fight a war against an enemy who treats consciousness as a tool, as a weapon, they're forced to think about becoming weapons themselves. And that's a choice that blurs the line between liberation and something much, much darker, leaving us all to wonder, what's the real cost of freedom?